Hello there, friends. Welcome. Welcome to the sinking ship that is the PigCake channel. Every day, a new low. And by low, I mean potentially that's a car. That's a car crash. That's a car crash, right? I was trying to make a metaphor to sinking below the surface of the water, my friends. That's how we start off. We start off strong. I should have started out by saying that you should, in fact, wash your nuts. You should wash your nuts. Some good advice left from people that have passed away. I seem to be liking starting videos with videos or starting streams with videos. And I think this is a good, serviceable piece of advice that applies to absolutely everyone. Let's smoothly transition over to the Lord and Savior, Kevin Samuels, who's unfortunately now literally a well, Lord and Savior, that would have made sense. Literally dead. He's dead, unfortunately. But let's hear some good advice that we all need to hear.
Get a towel and some soap and scrub under your armpits. And then use that same towel and apply a nice dose of soap and spend 2 minutes washing your nuts. Don't just go 1 or 2 passes now, nigga. Wash your nuts. Wash up in the crack. Yep. You need to do that, and then you need to rinse that motherfucker out, do it again, and wash down the crack of your ass. Yeah, down the crack of your ass. And then you need to actually, you need to look at it, and you need to wash until that motherfucker's clean.
Actually, I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I don't know what he's saying about looking at it. That's kind of an odd thing. I don't know if you could look at it and determine whether or not it's clean. Just when the act of cleaning it in the shower is enough. But I do agree. Spend time there. Spend time. Some people just have the water. It's like they treat it the same way when you're cleaning your feet. Oh, the water's going to rush down anyways. That's going to clean it. No, it fucking doesn't. No, it doesn't, my friends. Use your hands. Use something. Don't use, he says he uses a washcloth. I'm not a fan of the washcloth. I rather use the pressure of the water. I have one of those high pressure things, the shower heads. You want to make sure you use that on your area because that's going to ensure that you are as clean as you can be and not just going to ensure that you're going to walk around being a troglodyte. So good advice for anyone. RIP OG Soft A. Oh my goodness, that was rough. Has become a sponsor. I don't know what that means. Oh, is that a member? Okay, there you go. That scared the shit out of me. Dr. Moggs here says oink oink on Twitch. I'm streaming on both Twitch and YouTube. Why? I don't know. I don't know. Both are sinking ships. One of them I just put up and it's already sinking. So the foundation was essentially created on faulty grounds. So that seems to be the trend of this channel. But you know what? I'm going to keep pushing forward. I'm going to keep pushing forward because that's the way a pig cake does. So today, as you can see from the title of the episode, right, we're going to be talking in large part about the Try Guys. Now, here's the thing. I know, right? It's news that nobody cares about. I don't care about it. But what I do like is to take this moment as a microcosm of what we deem as important as a greater society. And this is a perfect example of it, right? Where a dude cheats on his wife and this becomes news that everybody's suddenly invested in. People are analyzing footage. This is kind of where I like and the psychology of it. So I appreciate that, much like a bored housewife that's already gone through all her affairs and pretty much extramarital affairs, rather, watches a television show. That's the way I'm approaching this. But I generally don't care about this sort of stuff, right? But we're going to get into that. I hate guys. Piggy, how often do you walk? I walk every day. Now, I haven't tried. By the way, look at you joining. I specifically mentioned on that thing that nobody should join because it's not really a thing. I'm doing it because YouTube is offering some sort of bonus to sign up. And I applied for that particular thing just because. But thank you still for joining and getting a little bit of a piggy face emoji. Piggy, how often do you walk? But I like to walk often every day. I haven't walked every day this week or the past week because I'm trying something new. I'm trying less cardio and more exercise in the sense of trying to do calisthenics, some weights. So I'm not trying to walk as often as I used to. But before, maybe 3 weeks ago, I used to walk every day, walk at least 5 to 6 miles a day. And then on Sundays, I try to get 12 to 15 miles, just walking around, right? And a nice little pace. It takes hours on Sundays, but it's a nice walk and gets your mind off of things. Let's see who's in the chat here. I heard PigCake is afraid of fortune cookies. Is that a reference to a Rick and Morty episode? If that is, that really says your virginity. I would pin of shame that, but the pin of shame would require too much context if that is a Rick and Morty reference, of which I am testing your virginity on. I hope you and the loved ones have been keeping safe in the recent weather, says Dr. Moggs. Yeah, I mean, here it's been pretty tremendous. I gotta say, there's no complaints after the little bit of a shitty wind that we had. Everything has been pretty much gravy, although it is getting to the colder months, and by colder I mean not really. Here in the southern tip of America's penis, the frenulum, if you would, it's awful. It's we have one season throughout the entire year, and it's unbearably hot. What's Rick and Morty? Awesome saving advice. Awesome life-saving advice, Mr. Lawrence. So I imagine Lawrence said something here. If someone is overdosing, give them a glass of milk. It coats your stomach and might save their life. Look at that, right? You would think, hey, I'm gonna join. I'm gonna join this PigCake stream. I'm not gonna get any value in the sense of mental health or any sort of advice. No, you get some advice, my friends. It's sporadic, but it's there. It's a real hush deal, says Red Dead. We're all drug addicts at this point. I imagine you were referring to this being your drug, right? This, which is never a good thing. Speaking of drugs, because it is a afternoon stream, I do think that it's appropriate to have a little mix here, right? Vanilla syrup, some Havana Club rum, and some Coke Zero. Does that affect the exercise? Yeah, it does. But you gotta factor that in calorically. And rum is not really that calorie intensive. It's about 120 calories. So if you have one of these, it's not terrible, especially if you're doing the right things. Now you don't want to have too many of those, because then you're drinking calories that you could just lose track of, and then that's when you gain the weight. I just saw this, by the way. This is something I tend to look myself up, as I'm sure most people do, and that's due in most to my ego. But I found this recently, and this was funny. It's in an iFunny, which reminds me of some sort of middle school meme, right? And this is, I guess, a series of pictures as to why PigCake is objectivity annoying. The psychology of it. I imagine whoever did this is not necessarily good in regards to their mastery of the English language, but alas, we could kind of understand what they're trying to get for here. Lie detector trick. So this is a trick from forever ago from me, and it says he intentionally uses words incorrectly out of context and sound alike words instead of correct ones. For example, carrot, the card in the middle. Carrot, the card in the middle. I don't know when I've said carrot the card in the middle, but it seems like I think their name is somewhere here. Their username has something to say against that, I guess. He moves clumsily, always mentions people and details that we don't need to know. He beaches and farts. And it's neither cute nor funny. Now, here's the thing, right? I imagine using my my massive brain in translation. Here says Dr. Troy Turner and his white BFF. I guess that's the name. It says he beaches. I know you're trying to say belches. However, when you say farts, I lost my last relationship because I never farted in front of the particular individual. I still think this to this day. I lost that previous relationship because I was always angsty. I was always with the I never even went to the bathroom in front of this particular individual, right? So it was that sort of vibe, and that had all this bent up anger inside of me. I don't fart in front of anyone. As a matter of fact, I don't fart. But if I were to fart, I hold it in to the point where it's unhealthy. So for you to accuse me of farting, I think is incorrect, and lets me know that this is built on a foundation of lies. It's neither cute nor funny. I don't intend it to be cute. Although I do think the belches are somewhat reasonably funny. Not hysterical, but funny. He starts his sentences and doesn't finish them. He begins his sentences from the middle. I don't know where that is, but okay. I guess this is just an explanation of that. Here's another one. I don't know if these have longer bits here. I think they do. Why PigCake? He intentionally uses words incorrect. Okay, so it's the same thing, I guess. It's the exact same thing that he put here. So I don't know. I don't know what this is, but I saw these and I found it a little bit humorous. PigCake's a perfect example of how annoying on purpose his gimmick, and according to yesterday's experts, he's breaking. What? What's that mean? What's that mean, dude? The rules of professional public speaking. However, I disagree. He, and a comic I once saw, is crazy like a fox. If you aren't lazy and judgmental, you'll see that all his wordy, here's the thing, and the woodwork are all strategically placed and make perfect sense. He's perfectly clumsy and in your face about how he says everything. Rolling on the floor laughing. This man is so silly and distracting. If I gain anything from this lesson between farts, belches, and bipolar screams, it will be a miracle. So I saw those. I don't know. I found that a little bit funny, especially because of the verbiage and the way they were using a complete lack of understanding of the English language in order to convey their anger about me. But I do find that interesting, of the accusations of all I do are belches and farts. I've never farted. All right. Let's go through here. Sorry, Piggy knows how to walk. Right. Again, with the bit with, I believe, the duck walk that I mentioned previously. Dr. Moggs, a buddy of mine, farted while his wife was spooning him with her leg up against the eruption. We call him Shag Nasty. Yeah, that is gross. There's nothing cute about farts, especially when it's like in a relationship. I remember I believe having lunch with this couple once, and the guy just lifts his leg and farts, right? His girlfriend's right next to him, and then I'm just looking disgusted. And they said, "Oh, I forgot that you're not a fan of that." I'm like, yeah, I don't think anybody's a fan of flatulence just openly in the air, you disgusting fuck. It's gross. What's the Rick and Morty? I already read that one. I had no idea the Try Guys existed. That's a better form of life, by the way, not knowing that these sort of people exist in the planet. But I'm going to give you some context and some reasons as to why this is at least a little bit interesting, right? It is to me. Why does PigCake have an iFunny tag? I don't know. It reminds me of middle school. It reminds me of a sort of middle school bit, right? Obviously, the individual that wrote that is not somebody who's sound in mind, right? Because their points were not really great to begin with. And also, looking through their account, they have a word salad approach to everything. So I don't even know if it was safe to mention that, because maybe they might see this and then somehow take the revenge, like I do, like I say as a joke many times. Let's see. I try to figure out the Miss Caitlin mystery for you, and I couldn't find anything, says Michael Lawrence. Of course, you're referring to the Magic Kit YouTube channel that was somehow bullied by a reviewer, and I want to find who the reviewer was. Here it says, Gutbuster Mike, you're living a rough life if you aren't farting. True, but I'm not farting, and I don't have a rough life, so I'm the testament against that particular statement. Let's see here. Oh yeah, suggested get a Marlowe meets Malone. It's a great one. Great purchase. Pin of shame contender. You can't just nominate yourself, by the way, for the pin of shame. The pin of shame is something that comes to you when I feel like you deserve a pin of shame. Or it could be a pin of glory. It depends on my mood. If you get a pin of shame, luckily on this channel, well, unluckily because it doesn't help when it comes to spreading my channel, right? But typically on larger channels, right, you'll have comments from different groups of people that aren't necessarily subscribed and aware of the general characteristics of for example, this guy. So they might comment something and they'll get the pin of shame, right? And you'll have the legion of people shaming them. I don't have that problem. But here I do think that it's better because you get more of you get a more, I would say a louder, but yet a smaller audience. There's a car crash. It's a car crash. I don't even know where I was going with that. But the pin of shame here is it's something that's up to me. Okay, that's what I was gonna get at. My fucking god. I think a lot of people are though. Farting could be hilarious. Just gotta accept it. These sound like instructions you get with a Chinese product. That is true. Maybe a little bit of a tip as to who could that potential individual be. But that is gross. Oh, farting on your wife, or oh, look at this, it's cute, it's funny. No, it's not. It's pretty gross. But again, as I mentioned before, the topic of this live stream is going to be the Try Guys. Now, these guys were a group of individuals that started off in everybody's favorite content aggregator, which is BuzzFeed. Now, this is 3 of them, I believe, just to show you what I'm looking at here. This is a video in response to the allegations. These are 3 of them. You could see the individuals. Now, granted, looking at me, right? I'm a short man. I got funny features, right? I would say I'm usually not the one to judge other people based on their appearance. But come on. Come on. Be real, right? Be real. You look at me. Even though I'm short, I'm chiseled out of marble, right? I'm chiseled out of marble. Right? Looking at guys like this, there's a lot to be said about the downfall of manliness. However, you know what's the when this guy right here, for many reasons, is the most masculine of the group. And these are 3 of them because the other one got caught cheating on his wife. Now, ordinarily, this wouldn't be a big deal, right? Oh, big deal, infidelity, whatever. Right. Granted, it is a shitty thing because he does have a wife and kids. But the context here, right, is that this individual who was caught cheating, his whole persona is my wife. I don't know if you ever had a conversation with an individual that's married where they mention their wife every 5 seconds and it becomes, I get it, yes, you've reached the pinnacle of what you could do in getting a significant other that has agreed to paperwork that will make sure that your separation isn't without a lot of money, a lot of heartache, and a lot of unnecessary litigation, right? You've ensured that. That means that you are better than most men. However, to make that your entire being is kind of sad, to be honest, right? So this is one of those individuals. My wife this, my wife that. As a matter of fact, I do think I have a video here. Let me see if I could find this. This is great, by the way, because we have what is about 1 million armchair psychologists making videos in regards to little tells that he's done, little things that he said throughout the course of his video making that were indicators of him being a cheater to his wife. So it's very interesting in that sense. I'm waiting for the Spidey video where he breaks down. Like here, you could tell that he lifted his eyebrow twice, which is a common sign of infidelity. That's what I'm waiting on. But here, this is just some context, right? We got his wife. We have him, right? And you get to see a lot of times where he's constantly mentioning his wife. Oh, my wife this, my wife that. So his whole persona was my wife, my kids. So for him to be the guy that's like, oh, you got busted cheating. Although the intern is very attractive, I got to tell you, the intern is very attractive. I know a lot of people have really like, oh my God, no, you gave this up for this. No, the intern was very attractive. The appearance was not really the issue here. The appearance was the brazenness as to the cheating. But let me just show you some context here.
Anyone? 1, 2, 3.
Sure have. Would do it again in a heartbeat.
Oh no! What counts as cheating?
Is it ever okay?
How do you talk about it?
Do you ever come back from it? If it feels...
I think hindsight is one of the best things that we've managed to come up with as a society, right? Hindsight, because we look at things obviously through the lens of knowledge, right? Especially looking back, because we already know when these videos were taken that something was going on. So we get to look and pick and choose. Now, granted, this isn't a scientific method, but it is great to have the ability of looking back on things and then seeing, oh, look at this little thing. This could be an indicator. It's always fun. Same thing with here.
Like you're cheating.
It
You
probably is. He's a 10, but he's already married.
Nice. See, the whole bit is that's the person he cheated with, by the way. That's not a flattering angle. That's not a flattering angle at all. But she is very attractive. But the whole persona is an individual. My wife this. I love my wife. Oh, man. What are you thinking of right now? My wife. Okay. All right, dude. We get it. You're banging her.
We're not just going to be wearing Crocs, but we're going to be eating Crocs. What? How we feeling today? Eugene, do you secretly think that Ned and his wife are going to get divorced someday? No. Of course he does.
That's a lie?
I told you that.
So yeah, so they go through a bunch of lie detectors and all this stuff, and people are going, see, she's not bad at all. She's not bad at all. But there is a whole bunch of armchair detectives going through and seeing little instances, little flashes of things, little things that he said, twitches that he's made, and then now attributing that to the allegation of that. And I couldn't stop laughing looking at their response to this whole ordeal, right? The Try Guys and their addressing of the issue, the infidelity, because they ran an investigation. So the HR department, this is how you know, right, that they're a big deal when they have their own fucking HR department. And, they run their own investigation independent of what's going on. And just, I'm staring at the Asian dude and I'm dying just because of, I think the word that he's saying over and over in his head is fierce, fierce, fierce. That's what I feel he's repeating over and over in his head. And I was dying watching this. The pin of shame is like a piñata. You get hung up high and people beat you to death with a stick. That is true. I'm glad that you found a good equivalent metaphor for the pin of shame. Larry Isley says, I think Piggy is just Elian Gonzalez grown up and smuggled back into the country. We have Jennifer that says the dude is straight. Here's the thing, right? The only person that is a gay person in the Try Guys is the Asian. The Asian, I believe. I don't know if his name is Eugene, maybe. I forgot their names. Obviously, Ned is the one that's in peril here, but the only one, believe it or not. And I would argue he is the one that projects the most masculinity, right? So he's definitely a top. But compared to the other ones, there's some action there, or their behavior is definitely not that of what they actually are, to say the least. Here, trying to censor myself. You said Melvin Red Dead. I don't know what you mean by that. Wow, if every person that cheated were fired, we'd have 75% unemployment rate. But here's the problem, right? That's an argument that a lot of people are making with this. Obviously, your personal prejudice, right? You don't care. I don't care. It's his infidelity. It's his life. He's an idiot. He decided to throw a marriage with kids down the drain for some Asian pussy, which in this case, it might be worth it. Although she might be a pillow princess. So that could also be... Imagine if you risk infidelity for somebody that's a pillow princess. Are you familiar with this term? A pillow princess is someone that is just lays there. It's I've always had my hot girl sex hypothesis, which is hot girls have intercourse the worst because they are pillow princesses. So I don't know if you're familiar with this bit. This is one of my go-to bits, right? When you have intercourse with a hot girl, it sounds a little bit like a right? And of course, there's not really much action to it. Whereas if you get with somebody that has a couple, maybe distinguishing facial features, maybe some sort of deformity, you're going to have a great time. And this has been proven to me time after time. All right. So Dr. Monk says, PigCake, I love you, but fear the internet might be wasted on you. I don't know what you mean by that, but I'm taking that as a compliment. On Twitch there. He seems the straightest. Yeah, he does. He definitely seems. But here, I can't look at this video without laughing hysterically. He's so pissed. He's so pissed. What had to happen, and the reason, I guess let me go back here. The reason why this is a big deal is because they are being portrayed as these very positive guys. You have a controversy, you have bad press, you have all these issues, paparazzi, you have TMZ on them. It's not going to paint them in good light. And from my understanding, they're trying to get on TV, they're trying to have their own stuff. And then that's not a good look, right? It's not a real good look to have somebody that's a known cheater. And especially when his whole personality is my wife. My wife. Guys, my wife would love this. It's like, yeah, okay, buddy, we get it. So it makes sense, right? It makes sense. Ordinarily, I don't think it would be a huge concern. Like, imagine if you're a teacher and then you get caught cheating on your husband and then they fire you because of that. It's like, well, you know, it doesn't really have anything to do. Whereas these guys are public figures. They have a network. They have, I guess, a corporate image as to what they're trying to project and trying to sell to other companies as, you know, hey, if we could be on your network, this is what we provide. We provide the view of a couple dudes that want to try stuff. Very positive. And one of them is, of course, with infidelity. Got to do those goblin squats. Goblin. I've always said goblin squats. Got to do goblet squats. Clusters of deception don't necessarily indicate deception. Says Gutbuster Mike. I like that, right? Again, looking back in hindsight at these people, or sorry, at this dude and all his stuff. Here's another one, by the way. That's, I guess, one of these hindsight videos. We break down the Try Guys cheating scandal. This is another one. I've fallen down a huge rabbit hole, and I don't know how I feel about it. I don't know if I'm going to be able to get out of it, to be honest. With this sort of stuff, I feel like suddenly black guys are more attractive to me after being engaged with all this drama. I don't know why, but it's still relatively entertaining to me.
A mistake is a choice. It's not a mistake, it's a choice.
Hey guys, welcome back to Real Housewives Recap. Really fast
so it's somebody explaining it. I know that she breaks it down, but...
Oh, you're completely right. But there's one thing that's extremely calculated that a lot of people aren't looking at, and it's what Keith said in one of his videos.
Yeah. That like cheats on his wife, you know? It's just like in a lot of other businesses right now. Oh, sure. It's barely being a salad.
The silence after Keith said that was deafening.
So yeah, so that's another thing that people are saying, that there was knowledge. There was knowledge of the infidelity from a while ago. Now, granted, I did make a mistake with this video because I didn't know it was going to be an actual commentary. I thought it was going to be a compilation. But there is, actually not, I'm wrong. There is a compilation of people, armchair psychologists and investigators, looking through and seeing instances where they're talking about infidelity and looking at him, seeing what he says. And it's funny because there does seem to be some knowledge as to what's going on and some stuff going on behind the scenes. Let me go through here. Bruce Lee on the left. Fucking crazy. That is, you know what, pin of you get the pin there, just because that's tremendous. That's a pin of glory. Pin message. I need to make a little thing that says pin of shame or pin of glory, and then have like a video come up or something. But you deserve it. You deserve it for that, just because he has to be repeating the words fierce in his head with. Tremendous. I can't transition right now to that video without dying a little bit inside. Let's see. I have the same opinion. Ugly chicks get you, like they're not gonna get it again. Facts. Facts. They're not pillow princesses, right? You'll be doing one of these. What the fuck? What's going? What? I don't know. What? Oh shit. All right. And then you're apologizing. You're apologizing profusely. So that's a brief look at what that looks like, compared to a pillow princess, which is. So here's the response video after all the allegations have come forth. Here's what they said. People were waiting on this, and obviously the video has a lot of popularity. 8 million views so far, and they uploaded it on the 3rd, which reminds me, I gotta pay my credit card. It's always great to know the days of the month based on your bills. Isn't that fun? Thank you, America. So this is their response. Man, and Homeboy's pressed, man. Homeboy's pressed. This guy over here, Eugene, I believe. I've never seen anybody just look daggers through the camera more aggressively. And I'm sure they probably lost some money doing this. They had to go back and edit him out of the videos. They've pre-shot a lot of videos, and they've had to go and comb through things and just scrap videos altogether, from my understanding. But even though they're talking, I just can't help but look at Mr. Fierce here as he's looking through the camera. Also, the outfit. I'm not one to judge based on outfits. I'm wearing an America wife beater, right? So what does that say about my aesthetic? But what is this? What is this? It's not a deep V. I don't know if this is one piece, right? There's boots. So there's high boots here. Pretty high up, I would say. And then this is going to drive me nuts. Is this a separate entity to the pants, or is this one unit? I don't know. I can't figure it out. It looks like a one piece. It looks like a one piece, but obviously just a repetitive, repetitious fierce going through his head is enough to send my sides into orbit.
Is no longer working with the Try Guys. By now, we're assuming you've seen the Reddit threads and TikToks and tweets and news articles. We want to give you a timeline of what's transpired and some transparency into our decision-making. Throughout this video, there will be things that we want to say or go into further, but as I'm sure you're aware, there are some legal issues we have to consider as we go through everything.
On Labor Day weekend, multiple fans alerted us that they had seen Ned.
I can't help but just look at Eugene, I believe is his name, and just the face and just the contemplation. And I believe he talks very aggressively, from my understanding here, which just is the icing on the cake here.
Employee engaging in public romantic behavior. We reached out to check on that employee. Ned confirmed the reports and since confirmed that this had been going on for some time, which was obviously very shocking to us. And we just want you to know that we had no idea this was going on. All of that information was just as shocking to us as all of this has been for you this week.
And thus began a 3-week process of engaging with employment lawyers, corporate lawyers, HR, PR, and more, in order to make sure we were taking all necessary steps. From the jump, we were acutely aware of just how contrary this was to the values of the company we've built and those of everyone who works here. This is something we took very seriously.
Homeboy is very pressed. I gotta say, Homeboy is very pressed. He does look like an 80s movie bad guy. He looks like the type of dude that would show up, put his hands on your girl, and then you, what's his name, Daniel LaRusso, would give him one of these moves, right? By the way, how badly did those movies influence people to do bad karate, right? I know that watching those movies growing up and looking back, I might watch them after this, as a matter of fact, watching those movies, you're doing, I believe, incorrect karate. And you're repeating it, much like wrestling back in the day. You would see them do the moves, and then you would do it. I do recall my brother giving me a power bomb, and us trying to show it off to other family members who said, "No, hey, don't do that," which scared said brother and dropped me on my head, which could have gone way worse than it actually ended up, which is nothing. I didn't have any damage, but well, maybe long-term mental damage, but. We repeated all these sort of things. So Karate Kid, now looking back on it, taught us how to do terrible karate. But did teach him how to have a good sense of looking like an 80s villain in one of these movies.
We refused to sweep things under the rug. That is not who we are, and is not what we stand for.
Okay, I'm not going to show the whole thing, but just the fierceness was enough to send my sides completely out of here, right? Just completely out of here as to how he's just staring daggers through the camera. And what's interesting is that they do this in one take, I believe, which I don't know how they did it, because I feel like at some point I would have just started screaming slurs, started saying things aggressively. Was Bruce Lee having sex with him too? Cobra Kai is BS. Some say he lost a fight against a small Will Smith with a broken leg. Look at that. Is that a callback? I believe that's a callback. I think that's an Asian wife beater. See, I don't know if I could pin things on Twitch, but if I could, I would pin that because that's a good one. That's a good. There's a lot of layers to that particular bit. Now, here's the other little bit of controversy. Right here's, I guess, the last bit of controversy when it comes to this particular issue, and that is that Ned has been seen with his wife, right, holding hands with the ring still on, and the wife doesn't really seem to be shocked by this sort of stuff. Right now, here, I've never seen a bigger PR stunt than this sort of bit here that you're going to see now. I've never seen more of, oh shit, I hired a PR representative. How am I going to take care of this? Oh, hey guys, this is what you do, okay? This is how we clean you guys up. Because he's still trying to hold semblance or some semblance of his previous life into his new endeavors. You're not just going to go cold turkey and then now have no stream of income or revenue, right? So I'm sure he hired a PR team, maybe some, chick with a clipboard, probably attractive, probably overpaid. And she said, I know exactly what you got to do, right? You got to be seen in public with your wife. You got to be seen in public with your wife. And whenever you guys are seen in public and somebody's recording, you have to say, we're working on it. All right, we're working on it. Everything's fine. Which is exactly what happened here.
Following Ned no longer being a part of the Try Guys and everything coming to light, Ned and his wife Ariel were seen on a walk by the paparazzi where they said that they were trying to work things out.
Hey, are you guys working things out?
Yeah.
You are?
Working things out.
Well, that's good to hear.
A lot of people are thinking this is like a PR move, and maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but either way, I just feel so sad for her.
Thank you. See, it's a PR move. Calculated. It's calculated. These are things that happen when people have money and they have some fame. Now, it's great because this falls into the category of one of those individuals that's like, whoa, how did you, or where most people, most rational, sane individuals would see a story like this and go, who the fuck are the Try Guys? But then you look at their clout and it's endless. It's endless. They have notoriety everywhere, Hollywood, YouTube, whatever. They have a massive platform, and it's one of those people that you wouldn't know unless you know them. But I feel 100% that with his case of him trying to push, I guess, a little bit forward, for sure I see a YouTube channel moving forward. I see some sort of video where he's sitting down with his wife, and it's the standard stuff. It's going to be the standard stuff. It's going to be he's there. It's going to be a really good camera, probably a Sony, some A3, maybe. A4 came out recently. But they're going to be sitting down. Right before they both sit down, there's going to be something funny that happens, right? Like the dog comes into frame. One of the kids walks in a frame. There's like a little, what's it called? Candid moment between them. Right, so a little candid moment, like, are you ready for this? Do you want to do this? And then it's going to cut, hard cut, and they're both going to be sitting down. And then one of them is going to go, hey, guys, so Ned here with Ariel, and I guess we're going to talk about our side. And then they're going to go through some BS as to, I'm working on myself, my whatever. He's not sorry because it happened. He's sorry because he got caught. Right, that's the standard when it comes to the cheating bits, but I'm willing to bet that that's going to be coming up in the future. And then from then, look at this. Look at where I throw my my die into the proverbial guessing game. I think they're going to do content together. I don't think they're going to separate. I think they're going to do content together, him and the wife. They have a cookbook out. They're going to do the YouTube channel, and then that's how they're going to make a revenue moving forward. So that's my prediction, right? I'm sealing it in an envelope. I'm going to send it to the news and then appear on some Fox affiliate channel and then go, I predicted the Super Bowl, or I predicted what the Try Guy Ned is going to do after his infidelity scandal. Although the other one, actually, let me look her up. She's also in a little bit of a can of worms because she had a fiance who, by the way, is a stud. So she had a fiance for 10 years. So she's been dating this dude for 10 years. And obviously, that infidelity broke that up. Alexandria Try Guys. So let's see her up. Engaged to her boyfriend. Is engaged to her boyfriend. Drinks champagne. Let me see this. Let me just see if they have a picture of them together. My goodness, how difficult is it to find these two dudes together? I don't know if I'm going to find that. But see, look, there you go. That's a belch. That's a belch. It's not a fart. Is this it? I wholly believe that Bing is the worst thing in the planet. I'm here trying to use Bing. Maybe I should have been smarter and used Google, but unfortunately, I have to use Bing because it's the only thing that doesn't have any information from me. Let me look up Alexandria. I'm sorry if this is not riveting television. Alexandria, try guys. Let's see if they show her and her fiance. Yeah, she's pretty bad, I would say. She's a baddie, as the youth would say. Right? I like that. I'm a fan of that. But let's see if this is her. That's definitely not her. And the fiance. The fiance is kind of like a workout dude. He's kind of a stud. So I don't know if they're going to show her, Try Guys, fiance. But that was a 10-year relationship broken up by her wanting to hit Ned. Is this the dude? I'm not sure. I'm not sure if they're going to have that. But for this guy, I get that he's financially stable and he's rich, but come on. Come on. Look at the dude. Let's see if they have pictures of Ned so you could kind of get an understanding. Ned Fulmer. I hate that I'm so invested in this, but I mean, this dude, come on, man. Come on. So you went from like a workout stud, a dude that looks like the stereotypical Chad, the homeboy here. I don't know what's going on with that vibe, but I know that he was attractive and she was attractive, and if they ever released a tape, I'd watch it. But then cheating on her stud boyfriend with Ned, oh God, your whole personality is my wife. Oh, and mind you, that's there's something kind of hot there that she knew about his personality. She knows, obviously, she works for him. And she knows about his love for his wife, and she's still like, no, I'm gonna get at this dude. I'm gonna get at this dude, and I'm gonna get it. I'm gonna get it. And by it, I mean the nut, the proverbial nut. Those paparazzi camera flashes sound fake. PRBS, definitely. A friend of mine was working for a PR company, and it's funny to see what they do and how people make money these days. In this case, using something like PR, and how important it is to an organization, right? Because it's everything, your perception, your public image. So there's a lot of money being put into PR, and especially for something like this, where they're going to try to secure themselves for the future, both financially and both in the sense of, I guess, work and financial are the same thing, but their public image moving forward. So I find that particularly interesting. People like, what's forbidden? That is true. Why use Bing when you could use Bong? Maybe somebody needs to come up with an alternative to Bing and call it Bong. Although I would give you a pin of shame if I didn't already have a pin of glory. Bruce Lee knew when he signaled withholding with the far-right guy that they didn't know it was going on. That is true. In that video, they do mention as to them not knowing that the whole thing was going on. But I don't know. Looking back on it, hindsight, looking at the little hints, right? If although you could also argue that why would he, if they knew what was going on, why would they drop little hints? That seems a little bit shitty, right? To be like, whoa, this salad tastes like fucking Ned's a disgusting cheater. You know, it's kind of snarky. Let me go through here. Sorry, I did skip one of those. It looks like an 80s movie. Yeah, that killed me. Some say he's lost a karate fight against a small Will Smith with a broken leg. I guess that's a callback to that terrible Karate Kid movie, I believe. With the last two Karate Kids were pretty bad. With Jaden Smith and who's a really attractive girl that played the boxer. People don't find her attractive, but I do. Something Swan, maybe. But she played the Karate Kid back in the 90s, I believe, which was kind of an odd one. I know it made a comeback recently with the show. I believe Peter Turner was trying to get that on me to watch, but I'm not a fan of watching like series. Like I watch something like here or there, but I'm not going to sit down and watch an entire series, especially now where it's almost reinforced. Hey, look, here's something you could binge. What? Game of Thrones, all these stuff. They're like 45 minutes to an hour and a half each episode. I get it. I get it. As a magician, I have ample time for things. But really, like, I'm not going to sit down and commit to these things. Hillary Swank. There you go. I don't know why I said Swan. But Hillary Swank, she's another one. She's another one that's definitely on the hit list. And by hit list, I mean I'd hit. Bing is great for porn. Figured you know that. I didn't know that. I have heard that in passing. But I don't believe it. I don't believe it. Why would it be good? It's not good for searching anything. How would it specifically be good at searching pornography? I thought you were about to say Peter Turner was trying to get on the Karate Kid. That would be funny. I've mentioned this before, but the first time that I stayed in his house in England, the first night, we had a couple drinks, right? And then we made love. No, we had a couple drinks, and then he sucked me off, and it was magical. So you didn't think that I was going to go to the well twice, right? The well of filth. No. He said, hey, so we're going to go to some shady bars, so you're going to need to know how to fight. I'm like, what is this, a fucking video game tutorial? Come on, man. So he goes, you're going to need to learn how to fight. So if somebody comes up to you, what are you going to do? I'm like, I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to deal with it. I'm not going to fight somebody at a fucking bar in a country that I have no idea the laws, anything as to what's going on. Am I dumb? No, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to try to run away. Try to get away from that situation. He goes, no, but what if somebody's in your face? I'm gonna throw something in the vicinity at their wherever the fuck, and then I'm gonna run. Unless it's like a twig, of which case, hey, let's go. But most people are probably overweight bar drinkers there, because he said he was gonna go to some bars, because he didn't believe that I would be able to go into certain bars and not get either beat up or shit talked. I'm like, I don't care if I get shit talked at a bar. It's a bar. That's what happens. But he believed otherwise. So he goes, I'm going to teach you how to. So he just throws me on the ground. He's doing some fucking moves. He's like, oh, here's what I would do. And then he just gets me in some Aikido move. And then the next day he tells me, I have no idea anything of Aikido. I just wanted to beat you up. I'm like, oh, okay, thank you for that. So I do find that funny. I can't tell if Hillary Swank is hot or ugly. She could go either way. It's like Lady Gaga. Lady Gaga looks amazing in some lights. And then in other lights, she looks like a ghoul. So let me look up Hillary Swank. Hillary Swank. I'm sorry for the objectification here. But you guys, the females do it anyways. You guys do it as well with bulges and stuff. I've heard girls talk. It's disgusting. Why is this keyboard not working? Is it Bing or is it this fucking keyboard? Oh my goodness. I'm about to lose it right now. My friends, I'm about to lose it. I'm seriously about to throw this fucking keyboard. Okay. Obviously, it doesn't seem to be typing. Oh, now. Thank you. Thank you, buddy. Hillary Swank. Yeah, but girls talking about men is gross. You hear them and the description of things. It's more disgusting, I would argue. These aren't good pictures, I gotta say. These are not good pictures. This one is. Let me see. See this one, right? But yeah, I guess it's a light thing, right? It's a certain light sort of thing with her. But I would find her attractive. Again, not really a great outfit there. Good, not a good choice. But same thing with Lady Gaga. They have this thing where in certain lights, you're like, yeah, you're a 9 out of 10. And then in other lights, wow. Wow, that's shocking that you let yourself look like that. Aikido is not a good martial art. A master of Aikido tried MMA and ended up giving up Aikido. I saw that. That's great. I remember seeing one of those videos. I think it's called Bushido. All right, these dudes that debunk all these claims of using all these, like, oh, you're going to use Tai Chi as a martial art. What? So then they just beat the guy up, and essentially that stopped the fight. I've seen a couple of videos like that, as a matter of fact. She's a 10 from afar, but a 10, but far from a 10. That's funny. I call that a far hot and a close not. Right? Where you look afar and you go, wow, man, damn, dude, yo, hit me with that. Hit me with your best shot. And then you get closer and you go, oh, Oh, okay. All right. I was sadly mistaken. That happens way too often, especially when you have terrible vision like I do. Let's see. Corn Pop, I'm going to rub their dick, spelled hysterically. God gave us girls to objectify. I didn't say that. You said that. I'm quoting you. Right? I'm here trying to be a good boy and not get banned on any platform here. Lady Gaga has a wiener. I don't believe that. That is a conspiracy theory that she does have a wiener, but I don't believe that. She's also like this tall. Mind you, I'm this tall, but she's this tall, which is kind of attractive, man. I like that. I like the short ones, obviously. I also want to get it with a really tall one. That's also the other one. I want to get with a really tall girl. I haven't, and I want to. That's a bucket list item. But alas, in order for me to do that, I have to trick them into thinking that, number one, I'm funnier than I actually am, right? And then number two, that my funny and my personality makes up for my lack of height, which is very difficult to do with an exceptionally tall female. But alas, I'm going to try my best because that's a bucket list item that I have to accomplish. I can't just not. And by tall, I don't mean like, oh, wow, like 5'8". I don't mean that. I mean like 6'2". I want to get with like somebody that plays volleyball professionally. I know it's a task. It's a task. Don't think that I'm not prepared for it, but it's definitely. I believe that I'm capable of it. Do you have any magic you'd be happy to show off? Oh boy, any magic that I'm happy to show off? I don't know. What was I working on today? I was actually working on something in particular. I was working on a book test that I wrote down forever ago. And I was also working, not to be a complete virgin, but I was working on more variations of moving like a double. Like this is 2 cards, right? So I was working on kind of different ways to take this in different directions, right? So I was working on that. But I gave up because I realized, wow, if I ever want to get with a shoddy, a tall shoddy, this is definitely not it. This is definitely not how to do it. I was working on that sort of stuff. So fun stuff. Also an old book test. I was working on an old book test. Let me see. Let me try to find a card, right, without peeking at one. I like to test myself to do this every once in a while. Right, especially with the aces. It's always fun to do, where you try to cut to the aces first go, and if you don't get to them in a good sequence, you just start the whole sequence over again. The first one's cheating because it's on the bottom. All right, that's a cheater one. But unfortunately, with this, you're trying also not to look like what you're doing, which is peeking as you're shuffling. I hope that's one. No, let's see. Let's see if I could. Oh, there you go. Right. Got him. But it's harder to do. And what's fun about this is trying to find a good sequence and a good run where it doesn't look like you're just skimming through the cards. Now, there are little cheat techniques. Like you could tell them, oh, let's make sure that we're on the up and up. And I want to make sure that we're shuffling the deck perfectly in half. Right. And making sure that each and every single card is thoroughly shuffled. And, of course, you could use that to get the ace. But let's see if I could do the last one. That's always the hardest because there's one left, essentially. And you have all the cards. See, right now, I would have started over. I would have started over because this wasn't a good run. I didn't manage to get that last one in a good sequence. Let's see how far it was from the top. This is also another good cheat, right? You go, oh, let's see how far it was from the top. Oh, look, there it was, right? And then you go, oh, that's funny because that was actually in my pocket. Haha. But it's a fun little game you play. Try to find the aces, try to cut to them, and do it from a shuffle deck and do it in a good, consistent sequence. Like when you get to the point where you go, oh, I guess let's see where it is in the deck, you failed. Start over. Or if you try to do it where you are shuffling too many times, start over, you ruin the set. So that's a fun little game that I suggest. A lot of short women like short guys. A lot of short women like short guys just because cute is a whole vibe. That's a lie. That's a lie. And I think that's from all these videos where girls are defending short kings and saying, hey, I love short kings, right? And then they say short kings. What's a short king? And to them, a short king is 5'6", right? I wish I was 5'6". right? I would give 3 inches of my penis to be 5'6". That's not a lot of that's not a lot off my penis, but I would give that up to be 5'6". That's not a short king, right? That's not a short king, okay? But they say that because they want to seem and they want to be a part of they want to be progressive. What? Looks? I don't care about looks. I care about personality. That's what I care about. So I don't care if he's short. Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. Right? You are objectively more attracted to taller men. How many cards do you own? And what are some books you recommend? Man, I'm not sure. I haven't read one in a bit. I'm going through Animens again. Animens Practical Mental Effects. I'm going through that one again, probably for like the 20th time. That's a good one, just for looking at old school stuff. As far as cards, I don't know, man. I know that I've had a lot of decks over the years. I don't throw decks away, so I still have most of the old cards that I used when I was growing up. Learning card tricks. However, I would say if I were to give it a number, maybe like 700. Which is not crazy compared to all these other people that collect playing cards. And how many decks do you have? Oh, I have 100 million decks of cards. Like, oh, okay, that's great. Good to know that you just have unlimited expendable income and or expendable or non-expendable income that you choose to spend on playing cards. Good to know. Lady Gaga got a big old dick, as big as Piggy is tall. I don't like that. I don't like how I feel like that's insulting. To both me as a character and me as a person. I've been doing martial arts for over 20 years. Seen combat and stuff, says Hane. Okay, thank you for that. I hope you got your jollies off. Okay, and then you said martial arts. That guy's YouTube channel, you could see his journey of giving up Aikido, and then he changed his channel name, lol. That is funny. Imagine you study something an entire lifetime, and then you go, oh, I was beat up, so it's fake. Same thing with Scientology. That happened with Leah Remini, who, by the way, is perfect. She's a perfect woman. Now, she's had better days because obviously age is a factor, but she's still a perfect woman. She came out of Scientology after being involved with all her life, and it's the same bit. Like, you've wasted years of your life having this belief system, only for it to just wither when you start realizing, wait, Xenu, Thetans. I also recommend reading. What's the name of the book? I don't know if it's Going Clear by something Lawrence. I read that whole thing. It's a wonderful thing. They had a documentary of the same name, but the book was very thorough and goes over all the history of Scientology. And even if you're not interested in Scientology, it's still a fun read just because of the craziness that these people are willing to go through and also the financial rut they're willing to put themselves through, all in the sake of religion. Mind you, a religion that was started by an individual who was somebody who was a novelist, who would write books, who was paid by the word, paid by the letter, and on many times was quoted as saying, if you want to make money, start a religion. That's that sort of guy. Where the hell do Scientologists get their plastic surgeon? From probably the best in the world because of the money they have, but I believe in order to be a Scientologist, you have to be very wealthy, and they tend to attract those that are very wealthy, whether that's real estate, whether that's Hollywood people, because that's how they stay afloat. We have a Scientology building here, fairly close by, as a matter of fact, and I guarantee you that building is empty. I guarantee you probably there's 7 people in that building working at a time. They claim to have the most real estate space of any religion in the world, but all they do is they just buy up buildings and they just have them. That's all they do. So it's essentially a way of not getting taxed, which is the other part. They're not getting taxed, and they just have all these buildings up that are empty. I don't know. There's a bunch of great stories of IT guys being called to these buildings to do like basic IT work, running Ethernet cables through walls and stuff, and then wondering, it's fucking Tuesday. Where is everybody? No, that's just the way the buildings are. Chase Okimura says, is the PigCake Magic Academy your source of income? Your main source of income? Yeah, it's the I would say not the main one, but definitely the one that I spend the most time on. I have little editing gigs, but they definitely don't do much. But the academy is it's a big part. It's a big part of that. But what is the academy? I know a lot about you, like why you're watching this ad, and it's specifically because you've looked up magic tricks. Well, hey there, my name's PigCake, and I've been doing magic trick tutorials on YouTube for the better part of 6 years. And I'm here to tell you about the PigCake Magic Academy with over 1,200 videos already uploaded, designed to make you an expert magician. You get access to all the content the moment you sign up, and I'm uploading every single week. As a matter of fact, I uploaded a video today. Just look at that list of moves, tricks, ideas that you're going to get access to the moment you sign up. It doesn't end. As a matter of fact, I could stop talking completely, and the list is still going to keep going. Just look. So check it out, the PigCake Magic Academy. The link is going to be below. I go with you, but I'm stuck in this video. But I'll wait for you to go ahead and click it. Go ahead, you know you want to. Wow, look at that. Advertisements, my friends. We have cutaways, we have segments, right? This is a professional show. I'm thinking a tagline for this sort of PigCast is a magician's perspective on the happenings, you know, the world, things that are happening, right? Granted, a magician's perspective on anything is the equivalent of me getting a grape and rolling it on the table, right? But I do think that that's an interesting tagline that might have a little bit more broad appeal. Congrats, though. Better than sellout magicians. But I am exclusively selling out. That's the thing. I'm exclusively selling out. So it's not like, you know, I'm trying to hide it. I'm selling out. I remember when I started doing videos for Illusionist, that was one of the other bits of criticism that I got. Oh, PigCake, you're a sellout. This PigCake Academy is probably worth it. Well, funnily enough, I've been looking through. That's one of the things I look up on Google to see people's opinions on it. And a lot of people have mentioned it, which makes me kind of happy. Saying, oh, you know, anytime somebody's asking, hey, is there a subscription service? Is there anything that I could learn magic? There you go. And people have mentioned that and said that it's great. And then it's great, but PigCake obviously makes dick jokes. And sometimes he's made jokes about races. So keep that in mind. So it's funny seeing it's great, but, right? I make jokes on all races. Piggy tried to sell out with Illusionist. It didn't work. Unfortunately, they weren't as based as I thought they were in terms of acceptance of my style of humor and jokes, which, by the way, is relatively tame compared to anything you might experience or see on the internet or see online. The jokes that I've made, even on the channel previously, right, throughout the whole history of the channel, have always been like relatively PG-13 maybe, right? They're not crazy. They're not off the wall on any side. So for people to say that, it lets me know that the people actually haven't watched the content and they're only, oh yeah, I've seen a clip of him, or oh, I saw a video compilation. I consider that to be the best of, right? But it's funny to see what the game telephone is when it comes to this sort of stuff. Let's see. Piggy is something on an expert. Most importantly, an expert at the card table. Some would even consider him the expert at your mom's house. Probably not. Especially with an experienced individual like a mom. You would assume that, you know, she's a mom. She's had some work done in her. And by that, I mean sperm. So I feel like I would not be able to go toe-to-toe with a MILF just because of the experience. Again, it'd be one of these things. Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh, my God. Shit. And then apologizing. It'd be one of those. Unfortunately, Illusionist is dying. I'm not sure, but, you know, it's Magic Company in 2022. So take that as you would. A magician perspective on current events, asking Liberace for an opinion on drum and bass. Yeah. You know what? That's a better comparison. It's like asking, what do you call this? I'm trying to come up with, you came up with a good comparison. I was trying to come up with something better. Improv master, trying to come up with something. And of course, I blew up like a car crash. A bit I shamelessly ripped off from watching old Opie and Anthony, which I fall asleep to. This is something I've made a mention to many times. I've fallen asleep watching, or listening rather, to Jim Norton, Greg Opie Hughes, and my favorite, Anthony Cumia. Let's see. That leaves the magic industry open for business. That's the other part too. That you come across all these threads about magicians and magic and how magic is a dying art. It's always been. It's like this channel. It's like this channel. It's always been on the fringe of some cataclysmic event. Like, oh, people are gonna know. No, it's never gonna stop. And the same thing with this. It's never gonna stop. Try and stop me. I don't want to say that because you probably could, but it's not gonna stop. It's not gonna stop as long as I'm breathing. So the same thing with magic. It's not going to end. Unfortunately for society, we're going to have people that are in, I don't know, some restaurants just doing one of these. Looking at people, right? Waiting to be asked, hey, what is that? What are you doing? Oh, I'm just shuffling cards. Well, you want to see something? Would you like to partake in a piece of prestidigitation? All right, great. So you're going to have that forevermore. Even in the year 2048, you're going to have that, unfortunately. I only said that they get pinned. Okay, that's funny. I can't pin on Twitch, rather. So I'm sorry about that. I'm still learning Twitch, and I might just kill it. Illusionist is dying? You remember You and Me Playing Cards Company? That's funny. I don't know how Daniel's doing with the card stuff, but I know that he's doing other stuff and killing it. He's a hustler. I need to get on that tip because I'm the opposite of that. I'm like, oh, let me just double down on magic stuff in 2022. You know, not really a good lucrative means of funds. But let me go through these comments here. Wow, thank you for disappearing, Windows. I appreciate your shortcuts there. Let me go through here. Thank you. See right here. Look, as a matter of fact, I found a comment here from the Magic Cafe. PigCake, let's see, it says, PigCake Academy is a real bargain. The guy knows his stuff, and his teaching is serious and logical. Hey, look at that, right? Didn't think I'd see some compliments, but I get some. I get some comps. I fall asleep listening to Reddit horror stories from from channels like Let's Read and Mortis Media. You know, I've seen that's a thing. I made a mention a couple of streams ago as to the obsession that women have with crime. And they'll fall asleep to that sort of shit. They'll fall asleep to like, oh, and the BTK killer strangled her in the basement and then proceeded to... That was, by the way, a true story of the BTK killer, that the detective that walked into the basement slipped on Simon. Simon! Like that old Dave Chappelle bit. I slipped on semen. So it's funny to fall asleep to that. Although with Opie and Anthony, what I tend to do is that I tend to have weird dreams. I wrote one down. That was kind of an odd one. As a matter of fact, I know it's the worst thing when somebody talks about a dream, but I wrote it down. I was doing a podcast in the dream with my autistic brother, who is nonverbal, and another relative. And allegedly, my autistic brother was able to pull leaves from a different dimension. Leaves, like from a tree. And then this led to me jumping into that weird dimension and then meeting up with my father, who then informed me that I then have to go on an adventure to go back to my dimension. That's a summary of what it was. But that's the sort of dreams that I have while listening to Jim Norton talk about, I don't know, throwing motor oil on passerbys. Great story if you haven't heard it. Danny works a lot. Yeah, I also tend to look back at the ham radios every time I think positively about Daniel. And I go, man, Daniel's really is a hustler. He's a good guy. And then I look back at the ham radios and I go, I'm good. Never mind. I'm glad he lives 2.5 hours away. Pedagogy is a skill and could be applied to anything. I have no idea what that is. Who is Danny? Says Red Dead. I don't know if you're not familiar with my old partner in my previous endeavor when it came to podcasting, ham radio, right? I would always dread Wednesdays because Wednesdays, I believe at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we would do the ham radios. I would get belligerently hammered, and then we would do talks on things like, I don't know, politics, current events, things like that. Red Dead, you should listen to ham radio. You should not listen to ham radio. Ham radio is also terrible production quality, right? You would see here, look at this. There's an upgrade in production quality, right? There's things happening. I have cuts. Be better.
Be better. Be better. Be
Bing bong.
Bing bong.
Right? Whereas on ham radio, it was up to Daniel to be a producer, and him as a producer is like the equivalent of me rolling a grape on this table. Again, doesn't really do much for society or anyone else, does it? Let's see. Pedagogy is teaching theory. Don't you as teachers get training on pedagogy? No, we don't get any training, or we didn't get any training as a former educator of the youth. As a matter of fact, I was surprised as to how little training, and that the training we got was focused almost entirely on elementary school education. Dr. Mox here on Twitch says, OB type Twitch/VIP Dr. Mox, but for real, I've seen a couple of your tutorials and they're good stuff. Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Again, I'm sorry for that. I apologize. Remember, I am streaming both concurrently on Twitch and YouTube, which is probably not going to happen. I don't know if I'm going to try another platform or just get off of Twitch altogether, just because I put it back. My account got logged out of. I couldn't get back in, and I started another account. Waste of time, I feel. The Angry episode is one of the best ham radio eps. Let me actually go back. As a matter of fact, seeing that I do have some time here, let me go to YouTube. Also, ham radio for SEOs, for YouTube search, is not the best, because there's a bunch of ham radios, channels dedicated to that. As a matter of fact, we had a problem trying to get that, and a problem with people watching the streams that were interested in ham radio and going, what is this? Ham radio Daniel. So I'm looking up ham radio Daniel, the Daniel episode where Daniel tried his hand at being the host, which blew up like Building 7. Let me see if I could go back to the Angry episode here. Did I transition into something? No. Okay. It's funny because we have the election stuff. We have Moose Juice. I don't know if I could find the Angry episode. Oh, there it is. The Angry episode, which is, by the way, in 2 parts because the stream cut. So I believe the angry aspect of it was that the stream cut, and I was very upset. So let me see if I could do a little bit of a meta here, right? And you could see me while seeing me. So that's funny. I've also, you could tell that I've lost weight since then, I believe. Let me see.
Mishap there seems like the talk of the day seems to be errors. Seems to be, hey, we're not gonna do what we're fucking being paid to do. I'm talking about the computer there. Yeah, I don't understand what the fuck that was, but
let's see. By the way, there's also about a half a glass, or almost an entire glass of, I think, what is whiskey, and a lot of ice. By the way, I like ice on my whiskey, so you could tell my state when it comes to these sort of shows. Very similar, but this is at least very tame. You get a very tame side, whereas here I'm pretty hammered. Let's go through and see what I was talking about here with Daniel. But we did this at his mom's house.
Person to look at what's on the painting or the whole painting itself. Me, I'm a bigger picture guy. So when I say something, I'm generally like, here.
Okay, so I guess I was going through Jabrizi and his appearance on Shazam, which was funny. There's a whole, I guess, side of that. That's a fun one. But I guess, let me see. Here's Daniel looking as dehydrated as possible. Back on Ham Radio. I think the website might still be up. But I believe we break down Jabrizi appearing on that podcast. So it's magic related there. Let me see what I got to zoom in for.
You should exercise your right to vote. Make sure, guys. All right. Instagram reminds me every time I log on to Instagram and decide to click on a picture of a thick Latina twerking. Instagram reminds me, hey, while you're looking at this thick Latina twerking, remember, exercise your right to vote. Take a look at this video prepared by Kamala Harris to tell you how you should vote and why. It's a little odd, don't you think?
That is a little odd. Really?
Yeah,
you got a video like that?
That is odd. You know, in hindsight, looking back on it, that is a little bit odd. I don't know. Why is it that Instagram is recommending videos of Kamala Harris specifically on a tutorial as to how I could do my civic duty of voting? Odd. You think they should have another counterpart, maybe? Somebody of a representative from a different party? It's a little partisan. Funnily enough, we have the chat, some old characters from the PigCake community. Don't seem to be a part of it anymore for various reasons. But yeah. this is how I would spend my Wednesdays, arguing with Daniel, going back and forth. Let me see if I could find the catalog here. There was one that I believe we did driving. This was a fun one. It was a live on the scene, I believe, after the election. So this was what, not so long ago, 2020. So this is live on the scene of one of the places where they usually, it was a meatball, man, where they usually would rally after certain election results. That was a fun one. But you could see here, I'm looking like a meatball.
And you're still a little bit of a cunt. Is it loud? The difference between a...
And by the way, my favorite thing,
You could stop
especially...
at 5 or 6 stores or just one.
You could stop at 5 or 6 stores. There you go. That's what it is. Chase dropped some hot loads here saying, keep it up. I'll always keep it up. And by it, I mean my penis. You get that? But thank you for those hot bucks. I'm sure I'll convert that into... What am I going to convert that into? I'm going to convert that into my... Nothing. I haven't bought anything as of late. So it's probably going to contribute to a Wells Fargo account. Dr. Mog says it's hard to get discoverability on Twitch. I found you on YouTube. I realize that. Yeah, that's the other part about Twitch, right? You kind of have to bring your audience. And when my audience is on YouTube, and it's the audience that I've managed to cultivate after years of virginity, they're not going to make the migration over to Twitch. But this is an interesting one. If I do recall, it was during the election. We have some characters, right? That was a funny one. Smoking a cigar. I think at some point I interviewed what seems to be a homeless man who does a headstand. Right? There was some characters that came across. The other part that I was going to say about Daniel is that he was wearing fucking headphones. And I'm like, hey, monitor the audio. Make sure the audio is fine. And this is how it sounds like.
Oh, Jorge Masvidal. Okay, that's funny. Jorge Masvidal. No, I realized if I...
The audio is awful. It's loud. It's cracking. And he's like, yeah, it's good. It's good. It's great. I like it. It sounds good. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. But let me see if I could find this individual. Is this past that? Come on. I should know myself better. But this individual does do some sort of handstand. I've seen him. This is awful. Awful entertainment here. I'm going to get off of this. I don't know what just happened. I felt like something disconnected. That was odd. But yeah, so that was the old ham radio tapes. I don't know if they're even worth anything. Yo, Piggy, should I make a best of ham radio video? Maybe. Maybe. You should definitely do that. I know nobody is. I don't know why anybody would. You probably fare better making a best of PigCast, right? There's a lot of material to work from. But a best of ham radio would probably be a very small video. I believe somebody already made those before, and it would just be me taking breaths. That was a fun one, so they would call it the best of ham radio, and it would just be me going, and then it was just a compilation of that. But I believe that is the stream for today, my friends. Tomorrow is Friday. So I'll see if I could keep my streak of streaming every single day in September. October, right? I forget what month we're at. September. It just so happens that September has 9/11, which is how I remember it, which was a tragedy. But I'm going to see if I could stream tomorrow. Keep the streak up every day in October. Let's see when it breaks. I feel like it might break on Saturday. I have an event on Saturday, and it might break on that. But make sure to join me tomorrow, supposedly 4 p.m. Eastern Time. I'll post on Discord when I'm going up, and then I'm sure I'll post it on YouTube as well, just to try to get the eyes on it. But apart from that, let me see if I could give you some advice on something. Actually, you know what? Good. This is good advice. When I got this iPhone, obviously, you should never buy any case from the Apple Store. I bought this from the Apple Store. It cracked almost immediately, and its whole bit was it doesn't yellow. It doesn't yellow. Most modern clear cases have that coating on it that it's not going to yellow in the sun. So that was a waste of time and money. So I don't suggest getting the official Apple case. Although I did get the clear one specifically because this I like pink. It's the on brand, right? It's a PigCake. It's pig pink. So if you are going to buy an iPhone, do not buy a case from the store. That's my tip. And also remember, Nancy Pelosi does insider trading.